So they didn't catch the person?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I
I haven't heard any new
updates
about it. So
sounds like we need to start a GoFundMe.
yeah, exactly.
That's my solution to everything now.
Yeah.
Start a fucking GoFundMe. This shit'll fix everything.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to Waiting to Dry, the #1 Charmaine Olivia fan club podcast. Hello to all my Charmaine-aholics. My name is Sergio Lopez.
I'm Josh Lawyer.
And we also have this.
This podcast is brought to you by being fucking stoic, like my boy Joshua Lawyer and his wonderful wife MJ, fucking marching forward and not whining on the internet like I am right now about some bullshit. God damn it. Fuck.
Shout out to
Shout
Lauren.
out to Brave Castle. Yeah, there's been a lot of shit happen since we last did a solo episode.
Yeah. Game of Thrones finale. Is that what you're talking about?
Of course, man. Yeah, man. Quite the amazing ending, right? Wink, wink.
Yeah. What was your take on that?
Well, it didn't stay as true to the books as I would have liked, but you know, I think they did a good job with what they had to deal with.
You know they're ahead of the books, right, Sergio?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, Lauren's talking about. I'm sure most of you guys have seen.
Yeah.
On the Instagrams, I think I posted a little bit about it, but MJ's is more.
Yeah, I saw it mostly through MJ's Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah,
and I shared it on there.
Maybe. Do you know? I'll talk to you later. There's some conversation happening on Facebook that I have no idea what's going on.
Okay.
And I was like, I asked Lauren because he talks about it on Brave Castle, and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, that whole thing. I don't know. I don't know. Should we just like say what that is?
What?
That part of the conversation?
The Facebook conversation?
Well, no, about what. Okay, maybe we should discuss
or
it.
Lauren's.
Yeah, just Lauren's thing, what he's kind of ranting about.
Well, I think we'll get into it.
Okay. But, is that what you mean? Is that what you're talking about that's going on Facebook?
So we've talked about a mural me, MJ, and my buddy Hippos did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about it. I think it was episode, I forget, the one that's called Try It Out with MJ.
For sure.
Yeah.
And recently it was
defaced.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Defaced.
Yeah. Someone went and threw white paint over all the faces.
Yeah.
So it was literally defaced.
Yeah, and I mean, MJ was furious about it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wasn't that mad about it. I mean, I was like, that sucks.
Yeah.
I told MJ, I was like, I feel the same way about that mural as I did about the Notre Dame fire.
That's so weird because, like, at least that's personal to you.
Right.
So I understand that even less than your take on Notre Dame.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the whole idea of like, once you do art, then it's kind of like, all right, well, I did it. On to the next thing, you know?
Right,
it's like, I don't really care about my paintings that much after that.
Yeah.
Like, depending on the painting for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like that, like outside stuff, it kind of feels very similar to like graffiti.
Right.
You know, you take a long time on this thing outside, and then
that's true. Yeah, you do have more of a you have a way that you're more desensitized to it,
right?
Because that's kind of the name of the game.
Yeah,
or
it's
at least comes with the territory.
Exactly. It's like take the picture. Hopefully, it runs long. If it doesn't, it is what it is, kind of thing.
Right.
If someone defaces your stuff, though, in graffiti world, you kind of it becomes something, you know.
Right.
Like, it's like an obvious disrespectful act, and you can go and pursue that any way you want. You know, whether it be fisticuffs or whatever, but or just trying to go over everything that person does, but I don't know, at the same time, at some point I feel like you kind of, for some people you get older, you kind of realize how silly that is. It's like you guys are all like battling or beefing over like some imaginary ownership over wall space or something. So yeah, the more annoying part is that it was like a mural that we were asked to do. We did it, and then some random person was like, "Nope."
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if I saw the person, like if I was in front of a person that did that to my mural,
yeah,
I would be very, very like angry.
Right.
My emotions would be very different than my emotions just seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably fight the person or beat the shit out of the person, I should say.
Yeah. Right. So, I guess the question people have been throwing out that I'm wondering what you think is like, do you think there was any sort of personal motivation there?
I have no idea. I mean, I could speculate all I want, but I don't know. That's the weird thing is we've dealt with like the newspaper, and then we were on like Channel 2 News, and another news channel wanted us on, but we didn't.
Did you plug Waiting to Dry?
Damn it! I should have. That should have been the only thing I was thinking of. You can kind of see that it's this weird thing where the news wants to assume, and you're like, aren't you guys the news?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't want to assume who did it.
Right.
Like, I mean, I have my theories
or
whatever.
Why, yeah.
Yeah, or not even theories. It's more like it could be this kind of person or that kind of person. Like,
yeah.
But I just have no idea. But they're like, you think it was racially related? You think it was racially
motivated?
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, maybe or maybe not.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I mean, if they ever catch a guy and he's like, because they painted 2 colored women, then then be like, well, that guy's a fucking asshole.
Right,
but like at the end of the day, it still doesn't change pretty much anything. It's just like, well, that guy's an asshole. All right, well, the end with that. Like, it's obvious that I'm not going to probably change his opinion on anything.
Yeah.
So why waste my time with a guy like that?
Yeah, exactly. There's that part of it. Yeah.
It would be more interesting if it was someone that just was like, this isn't my art, or this art I think is garbage, and I could have the, it's like, well, then tell me what the fuck good art is or something like that. I mean, I don't think this person, whoever did it, is like up for a discussion.
Yeah. Right.
The other only lame reason I could see is if it was like a graffiti person, because there's always been a little, like a group of like a group of graffiti world who's been like anti-mural work.
Right.
Which I always thought was weird when I was doing graffiti. Like, why the fuck would you pick a fight with them? It's a stupid thought to me. It's like, oh yeah, how dare these artists paint? It's like, I don't know. It's stupid to me. It's like a waste of your fucking energy to get angry at artists.
Yeah. That's what I more lean toward it being. Just somebody who's either just has a chip on their shoulder about street art or whatever, mural work in general, or just somebody who just thought it'd be fun or like stir the pot to throw paint on it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't really see it.
Because the way it's done, that it's just like it was done so just haphazardly. Like it was just like, I don't know if it was spur of the moment, but it just felt like not that much thought was given to it.
Well, whoever did it, when we went to the site, we could tell that whoever did it used Hudson sprayers, like bug sprayers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we could at least either that or like a fire extinguisher.
Oh.
Because what you can tell is that it starts. They all have like this initial mark where they start on the floor, and then they start spraying up, and then it like ends. It like sweeps from right to left.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, so someone like took their time to like figure out how to deface these things. Because that first set, you're like, oh, someone just grabbed a bucket of paint and was like, and cover it up. But But yeah, that's not the case. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know who did it and why, but whatever.
Right.
The funny part is that because of that, the lady that set up the mural, she raised the GoFundMe for
Yeah.
us artists to get paid for to redo it, and now we're the first one we came out of pocket to paint it. Now this one's like,
It's over the
Cool.
goal, isn't it?
yeah, I don't know, but we're at least making $1,000 each, which
Yeah.
is awesome. And then
Right.
the art store is donating the art supplies, and
Oh, really? Nice.
Kelly Moore, I think, is donating the buff paint. So it's like, it's like awesome. We
All right.
we won. Like this dumbass, whoever they are, you know, they thought that they were doing something shitty to us for whatever reason, but ends up being a positive for us. So
Yeah.
nah.
You get more practice now. Yeah. Somebody on Facebook was telling me that these muralists that they know on the East Coast use what do you call it, like automotive what is it called? I forget. But it's basically like a clear coat that you put over it that makes
Right.
it weather resistant.
Yeah, I know there's like a graffiti proof paint, like clear coat as well. We might do something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. But one thing that was kind of interesting was that someone hit up MJ on her Instagram, and they were like, they said that they thought that her complaining about someone defacing her mural and trying to raise funds to fix it was lame, and like it's a bad look. And it was like, huh. I mean, they were also an artist, but it's like I don't know. To me,
Yeah. How is that a bad look, though? I don't know.
to me, what that felt like was very similar to the one guy who said like listing prices on your.
Oh,
It's like it falls into that category of like this weird thing where artists somehow have written weird rules for themselves, and they assume that it applies to people. It's like,
yeah.
but yeah, it was, to me, it was very stupid. It was like, how it's one of those things where it's like, so you're okay with people just walking all over you and not kind of, and treating your art like shit, and then you not being like, let me raise funds to redo this because
Yeah.
because what? Like because of ego, or it was a weird
Yeah. Like you're not a real artist, like doing it for yourself if you
it was just a
ask
weird
for any sort of help.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a weird thing where it's like, you shouldn't crowdfund this. It was like, says who? We live in a brand new world, man, where you can crowdfund shit hella easy.
Right.
Like it's stupid if you fucking off the bat write it off.
Right.
And it's, I don't know. It's,
Yeah. It's almost that same sort of deal where it's like, well, your art is worth what you'll pay for, or what people will pay for it.
Right.
So it's like crowdfund if you can make money off of it. Why
Exactly.
not?
And no one's forcing anyone to pay for it. you
Right.
know?
Exactly.
And that mural wouldn't get redone. Like, I wasn't going to repaint it if I wasn't getting paid for it. It's like,
Right.
we already came out of our own pockets to paint it. Like,
How much did it cost you to begin with?
it was like $500 worth of spray paint,
Yeah. So that's
plus our time.
a decent amount just to
Yeah.
throw away like that.
I know spray paint is not cheap.
No.
And then, and it took us 2 weeks in winter, which was not fun,
Right.
to do it.
Uh-huh.
So, so it was like, I don't have 2 weeks to do something for free,
Yeah.
so it's like,
Exactly.
but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just a dumb, like, it was one of the weird feedback things where it's like,
Yeah.
so we're assholes for getting our shit gone over and then trying to fight that,
Right.
that action.
Yeah. Plus also like even just the money. Well, somebody usually pays for mural work anyway.
Yeah.
So like why is that less noble than getting some like big company to pay for it.
For sure. Yeah, and everyone feels like they're doing a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Helping us fix this act. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a weird like point of view that I was like, God, this is like the shit that drives me nuts with the art world. These like weird opinions that people have that I don't think they think through all the way. It's just almost like this is lame. This feels stupid. It's like such a popularity contest or ego driven thing where you're like, what do you mean, man? Like you shouldn't be too proud to beg.
Right.
That's the Temptations, by the way.
I was thinking of TLC.
TLC says that too?
Yeah, they have a song called that too.
Oh, really? Do you know what song I'm talking about?
I'm sure I've heard it, but
ain't too proud to beg for your sympathy.
I do remember that song now. I think that TLC probably was just a remake of that.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I know that song. TLC.
Obviously, the Temptations took it from him.
I think I might be actually wrong about it. I think it was the Temptations. I was like, that's why it took a while to say the Temptations. I was like, that was the Temptations, right? But yeah, I don't know. It's it's whatever.
Yeah, the article that came out on the Press Democrat was like, oh, okay, I see where they're trying to slant this. Like, they got to find the story beyond just it being a mural defacing.
It was weird because MJ, I had this discussion right before we had the interview with the Press Democrat, and she was like, my coworker told me it's white paint. That means something. And I was like, look, your coworker doesn't know shit.
Right.
Like... But you jumping to conclusions is a bad idea. Like you shouldn't do it. We don't know if you're dead wrong, then you'll feel like shit. You know, it's like because
yeah, it's like,
are you a detective all of a sudden? Fuck.
But yeah, it's that whole like, you know, it's like don't jump to conclusions because all you're doing is you're feeding people that want to be angry about shit based off of that, and then you're making other people who, you know, have a different belief than you feel like you've decided without any proof that they're the ones that did it. It's like it's a dumb jump to conclusion for no reason, with no proof.
right.
So then I had this conversation with her, and then the newspaper calls, and so right after that, MJ was just like, listen, we don't want to jump to conclusions. Like, this is the first thing she said. She was like, we don't want to jump to conclusions. We don't want to talk and say it was race-based things. We don't want that to be any kind of part of the newspaper. And the guy was like, yeah, I would never do that unless there was proof. And then I looked on the headlines. Like, I looked up the thing the next day on their website, and it, first of all, it was like front page, and I was like, God damn, I didn't think it was gonna. That was like on their website. It was the first thing you see, and I was like, oh fuck, it's just like a picture of me and MJ. And I'm like, I thought you would have to like look harder to find this thing. And then the title was like multicultural mural gets attacked by white paint. And it was like, I was like, what the fuck? And then, so then we talked to the guy, and he was like, because the newspaper doesn't have that headline. It's a totally different headline. And it's not like that kind of like, I don't know, what the like clickbaitiness. Yeah. So.
But what the guy say to you?
He said that his editor is the one that titled the article.
Yeah,
and
that's always what happens with the
right. And so
newspapers. Yeah.
She was the one that made that mistake. And it was like, you know, I think MJ was like super furious. She called him and she was like, "What? I told you, you lied to me." But the article itself didn't really have that that point of view. It was like literally just the headline. Kind of suggested that, and then everything else in the article was like, all right, well, that's fine what they wrote, but the headline looks fucking bad.
Right. Yeah.
But it is what it is. I don't know.
Journalism 2019.
But yeah. it just is funny that it ends up being a positive. That's like the interesting thing. It's like a weird learning lesson in that if something like shitty happens to you, because for me, I was just probably going to keep my mouth shut and just be like, fucking dumbasses. But MJ was like the one that kind of got on the ball and was like, I'm going to talk to the newspaper.
Oh, really?
And
Oh,
all
she
that
was
kind of
on
stuff.
him.
Yeah.
Proactive about that. Huh.
And it's like, oh, well,
That's interesting.
you can like go about things in a different manner and then make a negative turn into a positive. And
Yeah.
and then literally after that, you're just like, I don't give a fuck what that guy did. Like he lost. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, what was he getting to gain or seeking to gain?
That's the weird thing. Yeah, next time leave your name, bitch.
It don't make no motherfucking sense.
Shout out to Bernie. Is that Bernie Sanders? Yeah.
Not Bernie Sanders, Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac, yeah. Bernie Sanders.
It could have been Bernie Sanders.
But yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's it. We've talked that topic to death, right?
I guess so. It's just funny that I don't know. It didn't happen on my Facebook, but whatever. Lauren ended up in some weird discussions about race and all that.
Well,
But I don't know.
Well, I mean, me and Lauren talked about it as well, so he might be drawing from that as well, because just the fact that people are kind of talking to me, like the reporters are trying to like pull that out, you know, of like they like want you to like, because I was also on a radio show and something else, and they all asked like, do you think it was race related? And you're like,
Oh yeah,
I painted a white lady.
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know.
How did people miss that part of it?
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't like, I just don't, maybe that person is. I made the joke with MJ that it's the fact that I painted the white woman that is why he's mad, because he's not into race mixing.
Interracial mix. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, you can't put your it's like I am so the opposite of what that fucking person is. I can't put
Right.
myself in his mind state. It's
Exactly. Yeah.
like I would never just paint over, like splash paint on a painting. I mean, unless it's Pollock, obviously.
Yeah. But then you'd be
it's-
adding. Yeah.
Exactly. You're like, holy shit, when that new splash come in? But you know what I mean? It's like, it's that whole, like I could never picture myself doing that to a painting unless it's my own and I hate it. So how am I supposed to be fucking able to put myself in that person's mindset
Yeah.
and understand? I can guess all I want. Have you ever watched the documentary Vigilante?
No. What's that?
It's a documentary about people that buff graffiti.
Okay.
A lot of graffiti artists actually love it. I'm a big fan of it. It's kind of hilarious and weird because it's like these guys that they're kind of committing, like one of the guys is called the Silver Buff, and he'll literally paint over like legal murals because he hates visual sound. He's like, we're bombarded by all this shit.
Okay.
And so he'll go and people hate him.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate him because he'll paint over like, you know, like Bankskis and Shepherd Fairies, and they're like,
Oh, shit.
and they'll like get heart attacks. They're like,
Yeah.
that was everything. But he's just consistent. He'll paint over literally everything, but he's doing it with the silver spray can.
Okay.
And it's like, well, that fucking wall wasn't silver, and there's like strict rules on how you have to paint over graffiti. Like it has to match. It has to be like within a certain like scale of whatever the wall color is, you know?
Yeah.
And so this guy's technically doing vandalism to cover vandalism up.
Yeah. Where's he, or like, where does he do this?
I think he's in Southern California, I want to say, but
Oh,
I might be
really?
wrong.
Do people know who he is or no?
Well, they do because of the documentary.
Oh, like he was on there, like showed his face.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then there's another guy who's like, he's kind of weird because he's like, he's a hypocrite in a weird way. Like he is like he is like he is like a graffiti artist, except for his graffiti is buffing. Like he's beefing with everyone in a weird way. It's like
that's cool.
It's like he'll climb up billboards to paint over something,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like he's technically a when you listen to his mind state, him and graffiti artists are almost identical,
Mm-hmm.
but he's just going over everyone. So he's almost like, starting beef with everyone
Yeah.
and doing his shit in the daytime because technically he's doing it legally. It's a weird,
That's funny.
but when you watch that, then you realize like the amount of like people, like these guys have such a weird concept of what they're doing that it's not like I can pinpoint, like, oh, it's fucking some Trump supporter who hates blah blah blah, or it's some graffiti kid. Like, I don't fucking know, but whoever it is, I'm assuming that there's actually more to why they did it than just like, I don't know, shits and giggles or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This is my guess. There's probably some like justified reason why to themselves they think that they did the right thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be a religious person who hates seeing women portrayed as beauty or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Could be anything, really.
Yeah, literally could be it. So like trying to like guess is such a waste of time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, it's not even
by
just
the
the
way-
guessing, but what?
Where were you Sunday night at 9 o'clock? There it is. Just edit all that silence out. It'll sound spot on. But yeah, who knows? It could be a gallery that's mad at you or some shit. I don't
Damn.
know. So what else do we want to talk about?
Well, thank you to everybody who came out to our show in downtown Santa Rosa.
Yeah. It was hung extremely well. And their walls were very white.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool. Yeah, we had a show at Agent Inc.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to I'm gonna draw an ink on. I think one of them was Marcus, and do you remember the two guys that drove up from LA?
Oh, I never got their names. They never introduced themselves to me.
How dare you? Well, I think one was Marcus. Shit, I feel bad.
But yeah,
I try. I'm bad at names. I
Right.
was like, I'm gonna fucking try to remember that. Yeah, I was.
they would expect no less than you not remembering their names.
I'm the worst. But yeah, they actually were the two guys that they drove up from LA. Which holy shit, it's
Yeah,
like an 8-hour
exactly.
drive.
Holy guacamole, yeah.
And then they had the password, so
Yeah.
they won the doodles,
Yeah.
which was cool.
But yeah, it was an awesome night. A bunch of people came out from all over the Bay Area to come hang out for the night.
Yeah, it was good seeing everyone,
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with. Yeah, a good amount of Bay Area people came through.
Mm-hmm.
Felicia didn't, even though she said she was. So not cool, Felicia.
Throw some shade. Fuck your couch.
God damn. Drunk Felicia sound bites apply to everything. But yeah, I mean, after the show, there was some issues that happened.
Yeah, which really stemmed from way earlier, but they just kind of came to a head afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know how to go about this, talking about this, but
I'd say advice to anybody working with galleries: insist on having things done in writing.
for sure. Yeah. I would say make sure to get yourself a contract, or even if it's not a contract, just a
Mm-hmm.
an email from the gallery saying, hey, this is when we want the artwork, this is when we want the images,
Mm-hmm.
this is when we want or this is the percentage we take,
Mm-hmm.
these are the things. But so one of the things that kind of bubbled up after the interview, I'm just gonna fucking blob all this shit
Let's
out.
do it. I got my shit back. I'm not worried.
So one of the things is that we heard from every artist that I knew that showed with that gallery, which is a good percentage of the artists that they've ever worked with.
Mm-hmm.
We reached out to kind of get an idea of what the percentage cut was.
Mhm.
And so they told us that it was a 65-35 cut. And then, which I wasn't aware of, but MJ was aware of before the show. And then, so I reached out to the gallery to kind of be like, hey, we never actually even discussed this. What is our percentage? Just to kind of, I assumed they were going to say 65-35, but then they said 50-50. And I was like, huh, that's super weird because, not the last show they did, which was kind of not really a show. I don't know what it was. I don't know, but the show before that.
Are you talking about the one that was like a poster show or something like that? Yeah.
But the one before that was two artists.
Oh, yeah.
They were a 65-35 cut, which they've only had two shows in the last, like, I don't know.
Like almost a year at this point.
Almost a year.
Yeah.
So either, one of the, I don't know the people that did that poster show at all, so I don't know who I would reach out to, but the people before that got a certain cut. There was also some other details that I won't talk about that they gave us, but I'll tell you later.
Okay.
It's kind of shitty.
Really?
But yeah, pays to know the people running a raffle. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, so I was like, well, I heard this is the cut, and we've actually never discussed it. And then they said, like, yeah, well, that was the cut, but we've decided that that's not the cut anymore. And it's like, well, when was this? When did this fucking happen?
Right.
Did it just happen this time? Because the issue was that, here's the thing, is that this show specifically, we pretty much did the entire bulk of the work. They hung the work, which is great. They hung it well, and they had white walls. They had 4 walls, but everything else other than that was done by the artist, including sales.
Yeah, no kidding.
Of everything. So literally, I'm pretty sure everything that sold that night, I know exactly who bought it, down to the prints. So there's a thing where it's like, us as artists, we give 50% of our earnings to the gallery based on the fact that they earn that 50% by doing the hard thing, which we don't like to do, which is sell our work. So when it ends up being our buyers, our art collectors that do all the work for the gallery, it gets kind of like, well, what the fuck did you do other than put a couple screws in the wall or whatever?
Right.
And then this is kind of, I think, where this bitterness grows between artist and gallery, because we go like, well, what the fuck, man? We did 6 months of work. We painted for 6 months. What did you do to earn your 50%? And I think nowadays with social media and these kind of things, it goes like, well, we have more power now to not have to rely on galleries. So when we do rely on when we do work with galleries, it's almost like you have to hold up your end of the bargain, or else I'm gonna have a very sour taste in my mouth. So yeah, so a little drama happened. This was actually, I think Friday, I think, or I can't remember exactly what day, but I let them know that like I wasn't really happy with the fact that they're taking 50%, even though their history shows that they do a 65-35 cut, and that we never discussed it, and that they also weren't willing to ship work.
Yeah,
which was
like that and not having the work for sale on their gallery. It's like, how is anybody supposed to buy anything?
It's like they weren't willing to ship work to our buyers that weren't in town, and you were like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's part of your job.
Right.
You're getting 50% to do this. How does that not make any sense? It's like you say plus shipping, and then you just make sure that the shipping will cover what it costs to ship,
right,
and all the supplies or whatever. I mean, whatever you want to do to figure out the cost, but how the fuck does this fall on the artist?
Right.
What else?
Doesn't. It's not supposed to, at least.
So after I was like,
Yeah, it was so unprecedented. Like, I just took it for granted that, like, doesn't every gallery understand this? So it's like when that came up, I was like, well, I mean, I didn't even think this was even something that needed to be discussed.
yeah, it was ridiculous. But that was pretty much, I think that was the straw that broke my camel back.
Yeah,
I worked that one out.
did it.
But yeah, so I told him I was going to pick up my work,
Mm-hmm.
which happened to be like 2 days before my mural was damaged. I'm just kidding. Conspiracy theory? I
Yeah.
don't know. Just kidding. I don't think that they did that at all. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, so great show. Happy everyone came out and hung out, but then the drama ensued after.
So what was that like when you went in? Was there any weirdness?
No, I mean, Joyful was there.
Okay.
The gallery owner wasn't there. Joyful was
Okay.
there.
Mhm.
And Joyful's awesome. Like, I
Yeah.
actually really think Joyful, who's like, I don't know what her position name is, but
Not sure exactly, but
but she seems to be the heart and soul of that gallery and like
Right.
the backbone. But
Mhm.
she's a sweetheart, and I only wish
absolutely.
the best for her in particular. You know,
Right.
like, but yeah. So I just saw her. I didn't see anyone else.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I went and pick up my stuff today, and yeah, she was there mainly,
Mhm.
and yeah, had a good. Everything was good natured.
Yeah,
Even Kurt came by and gave me a check, and he was pretty good natured about that too. So, no like personal beef toward him at all, but it's just more of a thing like, okay, well, you're not equipped to handle artists, really.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't recommend anyone show there unless they get their
Yeah.
act together.
yeah, and I don't know. I was like debating doing this show the whole time leading up to the show.
Yeah, well, that was another thing. Like, the lack of communication about it was kind of what made it hard to even, like, I guess he had a lot of things that he, like, kind of rebutted us. Because MJ sent out an email that she forwarded to all of us.
Right.
Was voicing these concerns. And this was, like, after the show had already come up.
Right.
And she sent them a contract that we actually got help with drafting, and he was like, well, I don't sign contracts after the fact. And it's like, well, I guess I kind of get that, but at the same time, like, you gave us no paperwork to work with at all.
Right. It's not the artist. I've never had it where the gallery was like, please send your contract to work with us, the gallery.
Right. Yeah, and he was saying that, like all my artists, except for maybe a couple, I've ever had to do more than like a handshake deal. I was like, well, if you're a professional gallery,
Right. And that was my issue was, I don't know if you remember this and I just don't, but I don't remember ever having this handshake deal with him. That was like the thing. I was like,
no, not really.
yeah, I was like, well,
It was more like these loose discussions that were supposed to be taken care of, like, or made like concrete later on, and then they
Right.
just never really happened.
right.
And so I just figured, okay, well, when the show comes, when we bring our stuff, then we'll just sign all the paperwork that we
Right.
need to do. And it's just like, it's not here.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what do I do now? Do I just take my stuff and leave at this point? I was like, well, I don't really want to do that to everyone else either. So,
Right.
but I mean, otherwise, I said that in my email back to him. It's just like, I never normally would work without any sort of thing in writing.
Right.
But it's just more of a thing that's like, well, at this point, I don't know what to do. Kind of hands are tied. So we just got to
Right. Well, I mean,
go with it.
yeah, I was just like, I don't know.
Mm.
I didn't really want to make a decision for everyone. When I
Right.
emailed him, I was like, I'm only making this decision for myself. I'm picking up my art tomorrow. And
Mm-hmm.
then MJ didn't even know that I was picking up my art till she said something about emailing them about something. And I was like, oh, I'm picking up my work today. And she was like, oh, you are? And I was like, yeah.
Mm.
And then that's when she was like, can you pick up mine as well? And I was like, okay, I'll do that then. But yeah, I didn't want to try to influence anyone. I mean, I didn't really think about it too hard. I was just like, I don't want to go back and forth, and I don't want to deal with this frustration anymore. So I'm just going to be done with it and be like, all right, we're done here.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is like that gallery isn't really even fucking open ever.
Right.
And it's like, and they are planning on having a closing show, but it's like, I've been to a closing show there. There was me, Juan, and MJ there. So it's like, what the fuck am I gonna, I mean, I'm not gonna promote a closing show to have more people that I'm inviting buy more shit for what?
Right.
Like, why would I do that when you did nothing? It's like, do I want to be more frustrated to have more people that I know buy more shit? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing when you feel like you're getting taken advantage of. And it's not necessarily like they're trying to take advantage of us. It's almost like you're not putting in your work.
Yeah.
You're not doing your
exactly,
fucking job. So that to me is you're taking advantage of me. Even if you don't think you are, even if you think you're doing a good job, you're not. If you're not fucking making sales, then why do you think a fucking artist should work with you?
Right.
If you're not showing repeatedly, if you're showing 4 times a year, that's also probably not a good thing unless you've got a huge established gallery who doesn't need to like do that much or something like that. But if you're trying to grind your way up, it's probably a bad business model for a gallery.
Yeah.
You know,
Any gallery that would only show 4 times a year, that means that they're making such a killing off of those 4 shows that that's all they need to do. And that's not the case with that. It's like, I think, I forget who I was telling that to, but it's like, you can't really run a gallery as like a little side project and expect it to be anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And we did this show as like, oh, we should try to help this local gallery.
Yeah.
This gallery actually, one of my biggest frustrations leading up to the show was they decided that they didn't want to run it the same way they did when we agreed to doing the show. And it was like, okay, so you've decided to be less of a gallery. Instead of showing a monthly show, you decided to show a quarterly show. It's like, so you're not trying to help yourself. Why the fuck should I help you anymore?
Yeah.
Like, why should I? It's like, I wanted them to succeed. And when they decided they didn't want to succeed anymore, it's like, God damn it. Well, I committed, so I'm going to do it, but I really don't want to anymore.
Yeah. And it was weird because there was that whole lack of communication thing again, where we were kind of in the dark. We weren't even sure that the show was actually even going to happen until MJ had to reach out and be like, hey, what's going on? And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, well, actually I need your stuff by like next week or something like that.
And even his response was like, oh, we're doing that still or some shit like that. It was like, oh my God, man, what the fuck? Like, when did you want it? When did you want to do it again? It's like, aren't we doing it next month? Like, what do you mean? When are we planning on doing that? Like, it was fucking frustrating.
Right.
I mean, I think there's other demons that are causing that, but whatever.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, that's tough. I would highly recommend people don't show with galleries that don't want to try hard.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tip of the day.
Yeah. I thought at this point I'd be beyond that, but still still gotta stay alert.
Yeah, that was the other thing that was kind of, because he was like, that's gallery standard, the 50-50, and it was like, but if you really kind of pay attention to what happened, it's like MJ contacted all the artists to be a part of the show. She's the one that set the dates. She was the one that communicated with all the artists the entire time. Right. Like, we have a whole fucking communication log where it's MJ's talking to the gallery, MJ comes back to talk to us. And it's like, well, then she's the curator, right? So does she get 25% of all of our sales from the gallery's end? Yeah. Because that's industry standard. If we're going to go by industry standard, shouldn't she get 25% of your guys' cut? Because They did nothing. It's the most frustrating thing.
Yeah. In the communication afterwards, when we were talking about this, the decision that to go from 50%, he was like, well, I can't run a gallery anymore. I'm losing money if I do 35%. But it's like, well, if that was the case, then why didn't you actually put that anywhere in writing? Like, he's like, I don't know. He said something like he told us in person when we were first talking about.
Sure, he did.
Yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, even if it were true, that's the kind of shit you need in writing.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you as a gallery not know that or understand that? So it's like, it's shit like that. It's like,
I mean, I take his word. I'm sure he has a lot of browning out.
yeah, exactly.
So I'm sure he's recalling it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I call bullshit, but whatever.
So yeah, my work will be on my website soon for sale. So
yeah, serious. I know. I need to start promoting, trying to make some sales off of fucking. I made a little chunk of money.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But yeah, the show looked good. I think all of our stuff looked good together. So that was
that was an awesome show.
Mm-hmm.
The artist really delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had some very spiffy frames.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I don't know. It was a fun show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that was a show. It's like, oh man, I wish this was in like a good gallery in San Francisco.
I know. Fuck. And we totally could have done it too.
Exactly. Yeah.
If we would have hit Edena up,
Mm-hmm.
she would have totally done that show before she closed.
Mm-hmm.
She would have sold the shit out of that show.
Right. Exactly.
It is what it is.
Shout out you, Renee.
Yeah.
But speaking of, yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah.
Got mine in progress. My piece for Irene's last show.
Yeah, me too. Working. I got to try to finish that this week is my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 Abend pieces. I have to little 5x5, so I'm hoping to finish those this week too.
Mm-hmm.
But I should be able to. They're so fucking small. It's like I think it's a one day paint.
Oh, okay.
Is my guess.
How big are they?
5x5.
Oh.
Tiny.
Oh, okay. Is it any theme to it or no? Oh, okay,
I think
that's
it's a
good.
5x5.
Yeah.
It would be tough.
Sizes are my favorite themes.
Yeah, it would be tough if you like paint 5x5. Also, unicorn.
Yeah,
something
exactly.
unicorn in it.
Well, some galleries will try something like that every so often.
But 5x5 is so small. It's
I
really
know.
like such a challenge
Exactly. Yeah.
that to like then figure out how to. Yeah, I don't know. I have to end up like trying to squeeze a face in to do anything, which. It's kind of just weird because it just ends up being like a floating head.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really like doing this.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I actually don't mind that much, I think. If it sails, I won't mind at all.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. You did Carmel this weekend.
I did. Yep.
In the rain.
In the rain.
In the snow.
Hell or
uphill,
high water. Yeah.
both ways.
Right. Yeah, I had my little.
Your plein air little group.
Yeah, we all got together.
Who is that?
Monty.
Oh, okay.
That's episode 4, Monty.
Okay, that's why it's a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that went well, despite all the weather being so all over the place. Yeah, everybody was trooper. They pulled out enough good work from it.
Nice. Is there anyone that goes out and paints in watercolor in that?
There was one person, yeah.
It's like they work and then all of a sudden the rain hits and you're just like, oh no!
Yeah.
Like they put the last little like, and I'm done.
Yeah. It's like one of those magnetic things you shake and they disappear.
Exactly. Yeah. Or they could have just turned in a white page and be like, I fucking did a masterpiece. Even though they did nothing, they just like got drunk for the weekend.
Right,
Get like
exactly.
some pity sales.
Pity sales. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Started GoFundMe. It works.
Yeah. I need to replace all my paint that got washed away.
Yeah, I think Juan told me he was like, I don't know if I should, but that he's like, I think you guys did it to your own. I think it was him. Someone was like, you guys
Sounds
did
like
it to yourself. I'm like, I would. Oh no, I think it was Lauren. It might have been, but as a joke. I mean, whoever said it was joking, but it was like, it was like that. It was like, I wish I was that smart to where I could do something like that to make so much free marketing through like newspapers and shit.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
I wish I was that fucking smart.
Right.
But I also would have, if I would have done that, I would have Jesse Smolletted it and then wrote like MAGA on it or something.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
All right, but sorry. Back to Carmel
Back to Carmel.
and this watercolors. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Well, that watercolorist actually walked away with the prize, so
Oh, did she?
He's
Or
not.
he?
Yeah, he's not mad.
I don't know why I assumed it was a she. I just assume all watercolors are females.
Watercolor. You just see a watercolor, and you're like,
Exactly.
yeah. I ended up with a third place, which is a nice little chunk of change. Sold a small piece, so yeah, it worked out all right for me. Did
That's
not
awesome.
work out with such the bounty as last year, but
Hey.
they're not all blockbuster shows. For me.
Bronze medal.
Yeah.
So when you're standing on the podium, I'm assuming, and you're looking up at first place, does it feel kind of sour?
Yeah, exactly.
And their flag raises, and they sing the French national anthem, and and your parents are looking at you disappointed because they wanted to hear the
Right. Yeah.
Mexican
Yeah,
national. Wait, what country are you representing, by the way? We should get that clarified.
Oh, that's easy.
USA.
Okay.
USA.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, I'm also
Song's the worst. God damn. People wonder why we hate, like, well, not we, but why people hate like things like when people hate the American flag, like for instance, right? People are like, fuck the American flag, and then you're like, well, it's because of tacky ass songs like that, and like guys wearing it as bandanas.
yeah, exactly.
And like jumpsuits and
Yeah, exactly.
it's like, I don't know what's more disrespectful, people that are like, I hate that flag, or people that wear it as like a thong.
I think they cancel each other out.
Yeah.
In the end.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it was weird. Like this year, they last year the Carmel event was still run the same way, which is how everybody complains about it, because there were a lot of things that they do was kind of nonsense. Like, but this year check-in, they finally did it on a day that's early, so it doesn't cut into all your painting time for that day. So that was a nice change for that.
Nice.
And then it also, like the actual setup of our display, because it's an outdoor display, and usually they just have like a long row of, what would you call them, portable walls or something like that. They just line up in a row, like they just block off a street, and so that's how they normally do it. So this year they did it in a park, which was supposed to be better. But the problem was the lighting was really bad, and they put it was two walls kind of close to each other, so it made this tunnel almost. So in order to see anybody who was in the middle,
It's a bottleneck.
Yeah, and so anybody who was in the middle, they were fucked, because like not only was the lighting not good enough to shine on the work, but because you're in between these two black walls, it'd be and you can't like stand very far apart without running into or like backing into the painting behind you to see it.
Wow.
So there was a lot of complaints of that, but
I want to hear the guy that like thought of that and how much he patted himself on the back.
yeah, like did it this time, nailed it.
Yeah, next level shit. People are gonna look. All plein air competitions from now until forever will always have the same layout.
Right. Yeah. We heard your complaints, and this is our solution, guys.
God damn it.
He's just in his head. He's just like,
Yeah. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
still people did all right as far as sales go. I was in that tunnel, but luckily I was the light at the end of it because I was at the
okay.
end of it. So
Wow, what a metaphor.
yeah, me and my third place ribbon just sitting there,
just glistening.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everyone's dying to hear, but this year, how were they?
Oh, how were they?
The orgies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Eating, drinking, fucking, sucking, snoring.
Yeah, it would have been good. It would have been good if you did it right on. Just edit it out. It'll sound great. Just edit it. It'll sound great.
Exactly. But it'll just be like you not reacting to it at all.
I know. But yeah.
But, yeah. Orgies top notch.
Nice. And how about the hors d'oeuvres?
Hors d'oeuvres. Oh yeah. Let's see. Well, they hooked us up with a lot of free wine. That's always great.
And then the lobster.
Lobster. They had what did they have? Like a crab sort of pate sort of thing.
Crab pate. I haven't even heard of that.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. It wasn't crab. It was probably like some salmon or something like that. I forget.
Oh, I kind of think I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Like a can of tuna.
Yeah, exactly. But fancy. Some with a toothpick in it. It's a lot more fancy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Nice. So you get your plein air on.
Got my plein air on. Had somebody came up from the Bay Area to come hang out, so that was pretty cool.
Nice. Did anyone hit anyone with paint? Splashing paint on anyone?
Unfortunately not, but yeah, there could have easily been
would
backed into a wet painting.
Oh yeah, fuck. Plein air's got to be probably one of like the least hated art forms, right?
In what way?
Like no one's gonna get like pissed off. No, like maybe someone's not into it,
right?
But you're not gonna get like
it's the least offensive.
Yeah,
yeah, I would say. Yeah,
it's like no one's gonna be offended by a tree. And I'm like fucking trees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have that on.
You have a thing that says fucking trees?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, there's like so many trees. Fuck trees.
Holy shit. Except for Nick Schwartz and whatever.
Yeah. Crystalia.
Oh, that's Crystalia?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was
Nick Schwartz.
You kind of sound like him.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have a segment on the podcast called Guess This Comedian.
Yeah. I'd be very disappointed if Plague got him because he's like, I hate comedians.
Yeah.
But then, like, every comedian.
Yeah. I feel like I'm pretty good on the soundbite guessing game so far, though.
So far, yeah. Actually, do you know who does the go Google that shit?
Go Google that shit. Is that a famous person?
He is this weekend.
Oh, is that Steve Harvey or some shit?
No.
I don't know.
It's Deontay Wilder. He had like a pretty big knockout.
Oh, that's Deontay Wilder?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Deontay Wilder. Knocked that man cold out.
Yeah. Pretty exciting to see that little clip.
Yeah, I don't follow boxing that much, but I know who Deontay Wilder is.
Yeah.
And I saw the knockout. But yeah, other than that, there was that art heist.
Oh, yeah.
Happened in Petaluma.
The Great Petaluma Art Heist.
Yeah. What is
Getting
Petaluma?
a lot of...
It's like 10 minutes from here.
Yeah.
Our neck of the woods. Someone got. Yeah. You don't get got, you go get. Yeah. Do you know the details on this thing? I didn't really
I know it happened at a storage unit. I
Yeah.
forget, one of those public storage places. I mean, you just rent. It's like one of them storage wars types places. Right. Yeah.
And they had $100,000 worth of art in this storage unit. Which is always kind of crazy to hear when people store, like, when you hear about the people, I bought a storage unit and it was like $3 million worth of fucking art in there. And you're like, why the fuck did you have $3 million worth of art in a storage unit? How are you able to not pay that bill? But
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's just like people not knowing what they even have, or like inheritance or something like that.
yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, and then
But
they
even
just,
then,
like,
still, like, why? Whoever they inherited it from, who the fuck was that person that just was okay with storing $3 million worth of art?
oh, well, I would think that in that case they either have it like in their house or something, and they're clearing stuff out once the person dies, and they're like, well, I don't know what to do with this, so I'll just take it to a storage spot.
Well, these people,
They're very much alive. And
yeah,
they did something
and
very.
they had
not smart.
$100,000 worth of art. It's like,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that makes sense. Maybe they're at home.
protected with a padlock.
God damn. And maybe their art collection at home is like insane.
You could possibly. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, what's up, people?
Yeah. Christian and Christina.
Yeah, we should hang out.
Yeah.
You should check out our art.
Exactly. I mean, looking at the art, it might actually be up their alley, really.
Yeah, that was one of the surprising things.
Yeah, that was
about-
the most surprising thing about it to me. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is actually like not what I expect it to be, especially in Sonoma County.
Yeah, you expect a shit. What I expected was a shitload of abstract like
Right.
art,
Yeah.
just stuff that I was like, like I mean,
Like, yeah, stuff that maybe I don't even know the names of these
Yeah.
people, but they're like
Like
oh,
that
but they
circle-
sold at Sotheby's for,
yeah.
100.
Or you know that guy that paints circles in town?
God, paint circle. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Something
Yeah.
Uribe.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, maybe they had like 100 of his paintings.
Right, yeah.
You're like, okay, $100,000 worth of those paintings. I'm kind of cool off of a guy painting circles.
Right, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, or even like that Stanley Mouse guy who's pretty well known around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's at least kind of like, I don't mind his work.
Right, yeah. But I mean, you would think like if you ever think of somebody who's made a name for himself in Santa Rosa, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of like think, oh, they must have had $100,000 worth of local artist work.
Hmm.
But then you see it and it's like Crayola and those kind of like
Yeah.
juxtapost artists.
Yeah, I think there's even a James Jean little
Oh, was
sketch or
there?
something. Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
put
remember,
it.
or maybe it was one of those James Jean kind of knockoffs.
They put it all on Flickr,
hmm
so you can like see the work if you Google Petaluma stolen artwork.
Right.
And this guy's like really well known. Luke
Yeah, I don't know how you say it.
Chu, and then Mags and what is it? What are these? Mags and Milo and Dabs. That's what
Oh,
it is.
okay. Yeah.
Way off. Kind of off. Alex Party.
Oh, yeah.
There goes another Luke Chu. I think this is Crayola, right? Oh no.
Anthony Clarkson.
Yeah.
I don't know that name, but it's a good piece.
Yeah. This is cool.
Chris Scarborough. Don't know him.
Chris
But
Carver. I don't know
That's
him
a cool
either.
piece, though.
That is a cool piece. But yeah, just like a shitload of pretty good art. Some not so much, but who's this?
Mark Brown.
Mark Brown. I thought that was that other guy. What's that one guy that does like Chris Reidner or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, it does have that look, like sort of Mark Ryden-ish. Yeah.
Reiden. Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking of. They have some sculptural shit too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how big those sculptures are. Who's this again?
Scott Shidley. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the
Uh,
one who does like the dictators in like pink outfits, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a shit ton of work, and it was kind of surprising. You were like, "Holy shit, these people are local,
Right?
and they collect art that I know of."
Yeah. Camila D'Erico, she's pretty well known too.
Yeah. Is that a little Crayola? What is that? No. But yeah, it was cool to kind of see. This guy's really well known in that like Blinky
Mm-hmm.
and that art. Well, those look like old pieces because they look pretty bad. They look really bad, actually.
Mm.
I mean, he's gotten better, is what I'm trying to say, in a very offensive way.
Less bad. Yeah. Less really bad now. Who's
This
that,
person's
Asher?
really known too.
Kathy Olivas. I don't know.
Kathy Olivas.
Mhm.
I know they're big. I don't know names. I just know like their work.
Their work,
Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, I know that person's work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a
there's
James
that little
Dean.
James
Holy
Dean.
shit.
Willow Tree Study. Yeah. Oh, that's actual. I think that's an original,
Yeah,
not just a print. But yeah.
nice.
So yeah.
Well, someone came out fat.
I
Hopefully
know.
they're art collectors, or hopefully they're art lovers, so at least they can appreciate what they stole.
Well, what I saw, I don't know if it was in
Is
this
this
article.
a mirror?
Is it?
No, Lady Pink.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Lady Pink. That's like the OG graffiti artist lady.
Oh, really? Huh.
Damn.
In the article, maybe it was in the article. It was saying something that like part of the reason they found out where it was. Oh, yeah, that's right there. When it's out to the where was this? Received a Facebook message from a woman in Bay Area Tuesday. I thought that was on eBay. Well, maybe not. Okay.
Oh, I see.
It says, I'll just read it real quick. Christina Fogliani said her husband Christian received a Facebook message from a woman in the Bay Area Tuesday asking how much a painting by renowned artist Luke Chu, owned by the couple, was worth. When Christian responded he would sell it to the woman for $4,000, the woman informed him that she already had the painting in her possession. So
she's a dumbass. So wait, did that lady?
So then, oh wait, well, let me read that again.
So that
yeah.
lady stole. Was it the lady that stole it?
I don't know. I think maybe that lady got it from whoever stole it.
And then why would she contact the people that owned it? She's like,
I
hey,
have
what
no
do you
idea.
think this piece is worth that someone stole that I bought for cheap?
Did she not know? Or maybe, well, the lady would have to know that they're into that kind of art.
God,
The couple. So, yeah, it's weird.
that's weird.
But yeah, that's how they found out, because then that's where it says a couple raced to their storage locker in Petaluma and found that had been ransacked.
Holy shit.
It says no sign that anyone had broken the lock or cut the lock. So public storage provided the lock for us, and it was their lock. So
Wait, so the lock wasn't cut?
yeah,
Ooh, inside job.
that's what I'm thinking.
Holy shit.
The indoor storage space was on the second floor of a temperature-controlled building, and a code must be entered on a keypad to enter the building.
Oh, shit.
Plot thickens.
God damn it. There is a theory out there by Plague, he told me,
Yeah.
that he thinks that it's Ryan Reynolds to promote the Pikachu detective movie. And it's
Are you a detective all of a sudden? You fuck.
God damn, he ran it at the right time. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to think that someone robbed someone of artwork. I mean, holy shit, they had some awesome work in there,
Right.
and some that's not my cup of tea, but it's worth money. So,
Right, exactly, yeah.
So holy fuck.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, by and large, when I look at the work, I'm like, okay, like there's actually some stuff in here I'd want to own, but
Yeah, especially that James
which
Jean.
like never happens when any of these things ever come up.
Yeah, and I really like this piece too,
Mm.
especially depending, because it seems like they probably collected work like 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like this collection is like from a long time ago,
exactly, yeah.
and it has that like early 2000s feel of art. You know what was
Mhm.
really in at the time.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, this person
Sure.
still is like pretty big. That Luke Chewy guy,
Mm-hmm.
and his work actually sells for a good chunk of money.
Mm.
I mean, obviously they said $4,000, and I think those are for like these like things are tiny too. They're like,
What's
And-
it say they are? I think that one says 14 by 11 inches.
yeah,
So,
so not big.
mm-hmm.
And for a $4,000 painting, it's pretty good price point.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're buying it from a stolen person, for someone that stole it, and
Right.
being able to I mean, well, who knows what they're asking for it?
Mm.
They might be getting really good prices if they're buying it stolen.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Are they offering a reward for.
So they didn't catch the person?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I
I
never
haven't heard any new
updates.
about it. So
Sounds like we need to start a GoFundMe.
yeah, exactly.
That's my solution to everything now.
Yeah.
Start a fucking GoFundMe. This shit'll fix everything. But when this article came out, they didn't find out who did it.
No.
Who? What about
well,
the
this was
fucking lady
May.
that hit him up?
Yeah, I mean, she's got to be under investigation, right?
I
Just
mean-
like to even get more info from her.
Well, you're not allowed to have stolen shit.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten. I had a buddy who had a podcast or a iPod that he bought from a friend, and that iPod was stolen.
Okay.
Obviously,
Yeah.
no one's just selling iPods that aren't stolen.
Yeah.
Someone wants to sell you an iPod, that shit's stolen.
Right.
Unless it's nowadays, then they're just trying to get rid of their old shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
If you're selling, yeah.
Especially if you're in East Palo Alto and you're buying iPods, shit's for sure stolen.
Yeah.
I've definitely had a ton of my iPods that have gone missing that some kid has it out there just listening to shit. Probably listening to
They're
music.
still listening to it.
Yeah. But yeah, they ran the numbers and they were like, oh, this is stolen. And then he had to go to he got charged for some shit. I don't know if it was grand theft because I don't think they were worth enough.
Oh,
But it was some shit where it was like
possession of stolen property or
yeah,
something
he
like
had
that.
probation for 3 years and
Mm,
all that kind of shit. It was
Crazy.
Like, fuck, that sucks. That couple's an asshole for running those numbers.
yeah.
God damn. But whatever. So yeah, if that lady has it, they're painting, the cops could easily be like, you possess stolen shit up to $4,000 worth.
Right.
So they could easily do some shit to get some answers out of her. Hopefully she didn't buy it from a dope fiend, because then that's dust in the wind right there. You're never gonna find that fucking person.
Damn.
But yeah, I don't know.
Right. I don't know either. I'm like,
That
I'll
whole
just see what comes next from
yeah,
the story.
yeah. I wish it was
Waiting
my,
to dry on the beat.
yeah. True detectives.
Yeah, exactly. True introverts, true detectives.
We should go to the storage unit and be like, interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I don't got much to add to the story other than it's interesting as shit.
Yeah, I just thought the most impressive thing was like the type of art. Like somebody must have known. Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking, right? Somebody would have known not only who the person, who the couple is, but like what type of art they have, what it's worth.
Right. Yeah. You gotta check out whoever works there, their Instagram, and see if any of them follow those artists.
Yeah.
And be like, you're the motherfucker. Obviously, no one else knows that a fucking James Jean is but you.
Right. Exactly.
Hopefully a cop is listening. Hopefully the cop on the beat is listening to this, and they're like, yeah, that's exactly what we should have done.
Yeah.
That case would have been solved in 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Some detectives you are.
Are you a detective all of a sudden? You fuck.
God damn it. That's slowly becoming my favorite soundbite. But yeah.
I have some other ones that I clipped. I don't even know what they are anymore.
From today,
Yeah. Let me see what
he
this
went
one is.
in.
Yeah, it could have been. Stop turning it into it without having any fucking proof. I'm all mad and shit. God fucking damn it.
Yeah, if you guys want to hear my buddy Lauren rant about what happened to our mural and then the aftermath after that, go check out Brave Castle podcast. He goes hard for the first.
It's a very entertaining 4 minutes.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit, is that how I was supposed to feel about this?
Right. That's what it sounded like. Like he was like surprised that you weren't more, but he's like, I don't even know why I'm this mad when they're not.
I know. When we hung out, I was like, dude, you should be fucking mad about we talked about multiple things, including like our gallery show thing.
Oh, yeah.
He just, the whole night, he was just like, you need to be fucking furious. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm kind of fucking, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, the only reason I'm not more mad about the gallery thing is like, it was my responsibility also to be more on top of that shit.
Yeah. 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 Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just more like I should have put my foot down with certain things that didn't go my way.
Yeah, I think
They
so.
could have easily.
Yeah, I think that's the, I guess, the learning lesson.
Right.
Is when shit starts seeming like it's not going to be good.
Mhm.
Start fucking, when red flags start shooting up, don't go like, well, I committed. Be like, hey, what the fuck's up with this and that and this, and
Yeah.
make sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's probably the. Yeah,
Hmm.
is when you start seeing red flags. Don't just be the fucking okay artist with it and be like, well, that's kind of the thing. Is I don't know.
Yeah. Well, when you're dealing with the other artists, you just think, okay, well, maybe somebody else will bring it up before I
Right.
do.
I think, and that's the issue is we all were like talking amongst each other like, God, this fucking seems like not like not a well-run machine, you know?
Right.
The one thing, it's like the one thing was that it was hung well. That's like the one thing was like, God, it looks nice hung,
Yeah.
and it's a nice space, you know,
Right.
like, oh, it
Yeah.
looks nice.
Mhm.
But
That's what I should maybe.
go
well,
ahead,
I was
say
gonna-
it, Sergio.
Yeah, at this point. So I had a model come over last Monday, and
Uh-huh.
she's the model that I use for a lot of the small pieces.
Oh, I think she like posted and tagged everyone.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was like, "Yeah, I want to go see the show." I was like, "Well, you should call them up before you go over there, just to make sure they're actually there."
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the guys who works upstairs was there, so she let her in, and she was like, "Yeah, I like the show, but the lighting looks like shit."
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I don't.
I didn't really.
I didn't notice
It's
the
fine.
lighting.
Yeah.
But was it different when she went there?
No, I'm pretty sure they just use just the lighting that they normally have in there, which is like it's all right. It's not like
Right.
the most pro quality lighting, but it did its job.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it too much.
Yeah. I don't know if I noticed it, but
Mhm.
good eye on her for
Yeah.
sure.
But it was more just like the area where her work, or like the work of her,
I
was
see.
kind of like had this weird sort of angle to
Oh,
some of
because
the
hers
lighting.
were like more of the smaller pieces.
Right.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple people, like even the people who ended up buying one of the pieces, were, like in the corner,
Mhm.
it's like, oh, I bet this will look a lot better when in better lighting.
Mm.
So
Right.
there was little issues there, but not the. As far as like things I had problems with in the show, it's down toward the bottom.
For sure. Yeah. I didn't have too many complaints when it came to the actual art up.
Hmm.
Well, I didn't have any complaints when it came to the art being hung for
Mhm.
at least for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for me, I would have had to blame myself because I helped design how I wanted mine to look. So
What do you
it
mean?
would have been my issue too. For my stuff,
Uh-huh.
the way it was hung, I helped them like
Oh, you were there and you helped hang it?
not helped hang it, but helped like
Oh.
arrange it.
Oh, huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the least of the issue.
Right.
But that's like, I don't know, that's like the least of your responsibilities as a gallery as well. That's like we've said this complaint on the podcast before. It's like, if you think you earn 50% because you have 4 walls,
Right.
then
Mhm.
you are, fucking mistaken.
Yeah.
and
And you're not gonna last in this day and age either.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like we talk a shitload on this podcast about the responsibilities we as artists have as well as the gallery has.
Mhm.
So it's like the more older I get as well, and the longer I've done, I do this thing, the less acceptable these things become, and
Mhm.
and it's like, well, I can't fucking just complain about it.
Mhm.
I have to be proactive and be like, all right, I'm fucking out. Like, I can't work with you anymore because
Mm.
you didn't do your fucking job. And that's that.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't. It's like the same thing with the guy complaining about the mural thing where he's like, you shouldn't fucking be doing that. It's like, I shouldn't be proactive about my own fucking.
Oh, you mean the
situation.
person who said you shouldn't
Yeah.
crowdfund it?
Yeah, it's like, so what am I supposed to do? Just complain to myself? Like us artists, we fucking are upset about a lot of how things run in the art world, but it's like at the end of the day, you see a lot of people, shaking hands and not saying shit. And it's
Right,
like, well,
yeah.
you got to start fucking doing something if you want things to change.
Right.
You can't just sit back and hope everything changes. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully they get their shit together, and I don't know if they're going to learn this lesson, or I don't even know if they're really going to do shows anymore, to be honest. I would be very surprised if I have a theory about that gallery in general, but I don't want to say it out loud.
Yeah. I know where you're going, but yeah.
No.
Probably we've said enough.
Yeah. And these are just ends up being like opinions and
Right.
guesses on shit, but
Exactly, yeah.
whatever. God, I sound like an asshole probably.
I mean, there's some evidence, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
But yeah, I don't know. What else we got?
So I don't even know if you remember the discussions we were having with a couple of people at the party after we did the show. But yeah, just a couple of topics came up, and since they weren't recorded and we never really discussed them soberly.
About like the narrative and all that?
Yeah, about that kind of thing. Like one of the things I asked you was like, what do you think about art that's like purely decorative? Because for you, the narrative in the art is such an important thing for you.
Right.
Um,
I don't remember what I said.
I don't
I was
remember
a bit
either.
drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like IKEA art. Is that what you mean?
No, I mean more like pattern work or something like that. Stuff that's like meant to be more decorative, where like the whole idea is for it to be like decoration.
I don't know. I might need an example of what you mean by that.
I don't know, like a really nice wallpaper or something like that.
Oh, well, I mean, that's wallpaper. I don't know.
Well,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe there should be a defined thing of the difference between some pattern work on canvas, stretched on some canvas and framed, versus like actual artwork. Maybe deciding that both same thing is a mistake. I don't fucking know. I'm guessing right now, but
deciding that what's a mistake?
that they're both considered artwork is a mistake. Maybe it's like the equivalent of the difference between a credenza and a fucking side table, or like or like an end fucking table drawer thingy. It's like it's like they're very similar, but they're not the fucking same thing. We can agree that they're different. It's like maybe calling something that's pattern work in a frame doesn't need to be called artwork. It could just be called decorative shit. I don't know. I don't fucking, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, I would have to see an example of what you mean, though, I think. Is this like hand painted stuff? Is that what you mean?
Well, I think the discussion was more around looking at artwork that's meant to tell a story, whereas I guess that would be the most narrative work is there because it's trying to convey some sort of idea or message. But there's a lot of paintings that are painted just for the sake of being like a really nice design or like decorative work. Like I'm trying to, I'd have to think of a good example of it.
Well, I mean, one of the things I keep thinking about, especially with like the narrative topic, is that like it's almost like an unescapable like thing, even if you're not narrative driven. It like the whole idea that there's no narrative to that. Even if you're not like trying to like go and tell a story, you're still gonna like have some narrative,
right?
To it,
some sort of message is always conveyed, whether you're it's on purpose or not.
You're saying something, even if it's about you, the artist, or whatever. So you're saying something. Maybe narrative is the wrong word. Maybe just kind of you have something to say in your art, even if it's fucking pattern work or something. It's just it would tell me that like if you have like if you did like a crazy pattern stencil thing, not my cup of tea, but if you did that, I could look at it and go like, oh, you look like a person who could sit down at a fucking table for 30 hours and just grind some shit out, that is like, has no real meaning to it, but you're just lost in that process. That's kind of like your cup of tea. Well, that just tells me a shitload about who you are as a human being. Even though your artwork is some pattern shit. I mean, but I don't know if that's what you're trying to get.
Yeah, sort of. It does actually lead a little bit into a different question I had about like what we were talking about that night as well, because we were just talking so much about like the merits of narrative and all that, and one of the things that I thought of was like, well, is narrative always defined by the artist? And it doesn't necessarily have to be. Like,
I mean, you can take out of it what you like. I always think of it like music, right? Like someone sings a sad song about someone they lost, and you broke up with your girlfriend. And you hear that sad song, it's still gonna be sad to you, and you're still gonna feel that sadness. But it's based off of your experience in that moment, and that kind of song hitting on that right note at the right time. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to forfeit the artist intent in the song to take what from the painting or the song or whatever that you want from it. It's like, sure, you can look at a painting and the narrative is whatever you want based off of your life experience, but I never think that means you forfeit what the artist. That's kind of one of the things I get annoyed about a little bit when artists are like, it is whatever you want it to mean. And it's like, well, did you want it to mean anything, or did you like? Is your whole artwork just like up for interpretation? Is the whole idea like just think of whatever and that's it? It's like I don't know. Like for me, I think it's important to have like a direction and a thought behind it, and then if someone gets something else, some other narrative or whatever, I'm not against that. I just think that that I think it's important that the artist is trying to say something in some way. Not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be narrative. It could just be like the stencil guy, right? He's saying something, but I just think being aware of that and like being like doing it intentionally or like have your actions have purpose kind of in that way. Like don't just, don't be okay with saying every interpretation is okay. It's like, yeah, that can mean that to you, but this is what I had in mind is a perfect, conversation to have with anyone looking and reading art.
Yeah, I think also some artists, I bet if they were honest about themselves, they might say that sometimes the people that say like, oh, it means whatever you want it to mean, because they're scared of driving away people who like, oh, well, I actually don't. Like if you were to put your opinion about your own work, like to voice that to somebody, it would drive somebody away from it. It's like, well, I don't like what it means anymore. So it's like a little bit of like trying to please everybody with it.
Yeah. I remember there was one time where I was explaining a piece and then I fucking said, speak your truth. And I was like, did I just fucking say that out loud? And I don't even know if it was real, but I felt like I could see the person just like mentally roll their eyes at me saying that. And I was like, God damn it. I should have, what the fuck did I just say? And I was like, and then we finished it. This was like years ago too. And I still think of that moment of like, God, that was the worst.
Like cringe moment.
Yeah. So I mean, I can understand someone not wanting to share their shit for sure. But I don't know, be vulnerable, you fucks. That's kind of what art is, right? The idea behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is, I don't know, whatever. Or a part of, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
But yeah. I mean, you look at like great literature, and at least for me, the stuff that like really hits is always like very personal in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like, what's that one? the one about Boo Radley and all that shit.
Oh, To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird. It's like this exaggerated version of her life, or it's not all true, and
Oh, sure.
and like all those like classics, like Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this vulnerable like experience that you could tell is like pulled from like life experience or some shit like that. Maybe it's not his exact story, but there's like truth to it based on that, the fact that you're pulling from yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Steinbeck's shit, like all of that stuff's like my favorite. His work is like my favorite writing in general. And all of his stuff is like somewhat like he lived in Salinas, and you always like get like that like he like knows that area so fucking well that like, you just feel like you can imagine Salinas just from reading his books.
Right, exactly.
It's like that truth in his shit that comes through. But yeah, it's like I'm assuming there was no George and Lenny that he fucking watched blow his brains out. You know, it's like
right, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, even if you take the narrative of his stories out, there's like a part of it that's reads like if you just read the description of Salinas in his books, even though there's no narrative to that, it tells you a shitload about the artist creating the work.
Yeah.
But
yeah, totally.
I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, it's interesting to me, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess where I was trying to just see what your opinion was about that, about having the narrative not always be so defined. Like the artist doesn't necessarily have to create the narrative, but there should be some sort of invitation to create something.
Yeah, I think so. To create dialogue,
right,
between the viewer and the artist. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If it's not narrative, it's fine. And we can all agree that there's a level of narrative that's lame. I shouldn't say lame as fuck because I talk shit, but that's like overdone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, like you don't have to spoon feed us.
Yeah.
So you see it a lot with like political work. You know, you're like, all right, well, what's the point of this? Just to prove that you're on the right side of things or something? Like it's not interesting to me at all.
Yeah.
It's just you're saying I believe that side sucks, and I'm like, cool. You know, it's like the equivalent to me saying, fuck the 49ers if I'm a Raiders fan.
Right, exactly, yeah.
I'm supposed to be like, oh, wow. That means so much to me.
Right, exactly. You spoke to my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, to all the Niner fans or Raider fans, you're going to be like, yeah. You know?
Go Raiders.
Is that a soundbite?
It should be.
But yeah. Yeah, but those kind of things where it's like so over the top and so like I don't know, that to me is like not that fun and it's overdone and whatever.
Yeah,
but
well, it's just too, especially in this day and age where everybody's still sort of exploring like what you can do with one image,
right?
And there's just so much potential to add something new to it. Like that's what you're gonna waste your space on.
Yeah,
it's just some really basic ass idea.
Yeah. And I think I was talking to one of the guys that came from LA, and I was like, oh yeah, it's like narrative can be something that like no one will pick up on in your piece, but it's just kind of for you to like work through I was like, you can use it as I can't remember what, but it's like you can use it as a tool to work through your piece. You know, it's like it's like the idea of like you driving down the freeway and seeing the two lines where someone skid, where they slammed on the brakes, and then you could see like a scrape against the wall, and you can fill in that story, you know, and go like, yeah, like, oh, that's the story of a car slamming its brakes and hitting a wall. And you can recreate kind of those things in artwork. And I think that's where like abstract shit and stuff like that comes in, where like I think it does a really good job of that. But you don't have to be like a person on a swing next to a grave. You know what I mean? It's like you can tell these stories in ways that are creative and using the medium in an interesting way where maybe someone might not pick up on what you're saying about a car hitting a wall, but at least if it helps you through your process of trying to explain what you're trying to explain.
Right.
And then if you decide to explain it to someone, then it's like, oh, I could see all of this, you know, and you don't necessarily have to do that, but it allows you that freedom to say like, this is what this means instead of having to be that fucking person you hear in art shows or whatever, who is full of bullshit, who talks like, you know, I don't know, the fucking energy sources or whatever.
Right.
All right, bro. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
When I think that's another big thing with that is when you're like, when all your actions have like intent to it, then it allows you to like have the freedom to not bullshit, to like say like this shit is what this means. Even if you might find it tacky, at least I had the intent of doing it, you know, for a reason, not just for like, and I don't have to like backpedal and be like, I think that's what that meant. Oh yeah, now that you think it's what it means, I see that that's what I meant the whole time.
Yeah, that's such a cop out. Yeah.
So, and you know, we sit in front of our pieces so often that it's like, at least try it. I mean, maybe you find that you don't enjoy something, but maybe attempt to have some idea of what, you know, have some reason why you're doing it. And then if it seems like it doesn't work for your process, then throw it to the wayside.
Right. Yeah. That reminded me of like a friend of mine who lives here in near Santa Rosa. He came to the show, and he his name's Walt Moore, and there's a lot of people who know that guy apparently, but he came to the show and he'd seen some of my work in progress when I was doing the abstracted figures, and it wasn't until the show that I really started revealing that I put like pets and other stuff into the paintings. And so he was like both him and Tony Giraldi Brown came to the show and like, what the hell is it? Like what are those? What are the like what was my intent behind them? And I did my best to explain what I was doing with them, but the cool thing that Walt wrote afterwards was talking about the idea of like there's this concept of semiotics and things that are ultra semiotic. So semiotics are like, I think it's the science of like signs and symbols.
Okay.
And so like usually like semiotics are normally like a 1-to-1 ratio of like this stop sign means you need to stop, or you know, like that sort of thing.
Like a red hexagon or whatever.
Yeah, when
could equate to stopping.
Right. Yeah.
You don't have to see the word stop or something. Like the symbol of a red hexagon. Is a hexagon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
and even like words can be thought of in that context as well. But then they're saying something about there's a concept of things being ultra semiotic. So it means like it has there's signs that can point to like different things. Like the same symbol could relate in different ways to different people. And so that's what he was trying to relate the cats in the paintings to, like, what are these here for? And like everybody had their own interpretation. Everybody was asking me what that was about at the show.
And MJ thought it was like comedic relief to like the intense painting.
It's a lot of that. There's definitely it's like multiple meanings for myself why those are there. But yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, she loved them. But they were interesting little like add-ons, or I don't know what they call them, but they're like an interesting like out of the blue thing in this painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the good thing to me was that it filled in a lot of like things that happen in your orgies in the dark. It was like, all right, so he has a cat that just kind of watches over
Right.
the whole thing. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But whatever they're into, that's fine.
It's a symbol of, life goes on, even during your debauchery. Cats still need to be fed.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if you want to go into that in general, that whole idea, or
Oh, about like where all that when I started. I don't know. Have we ever talked about
the kittens.
about all that on the show? Maybe I have
No.
before.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it came from like when I first started thinking about the idea was actually when we had Cody Miles on the show,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things that always stuck with me about that.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. I need to get a little shout out button. I'll just be. Problem is, I'll be hitting it like 20 times a show.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I liked about what he was saying was like his art. He wants the art to be taken seriously, but like not be too serious.
Right.
And that comes through in like different ways, or it's not always like beat you over the head, being like overtly like a joke in the painting.
Mm-hmm.
There's like subtle things like probably like it's a very jokey title to call his drawing toilet flowers.
Right.
But it's like you can still look at it and see it's like, oh, it's a really cool drawing of this just thing in his life.
Right. For sure.
Notices all the time. So the thing about the orgies in the dark paintings, and like they were getting like super dark. It was getting to be like too heavy of a just of a
Imagery.
concept. Yeah, the imagery and the concept just like in general just felt like it was just getting too far on one side.
Mm.
And I was just thinking like what would be the
Counter to it.
yeah, the most extreme counter, like what would happen if you put those two like really opposing ideas next to each other.
Right.
And also like I'd been doing these paintings on my Instagram live where people would send me pictures of just things that they found funny or interesting. It usually ended up being like pictures of their pets or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing that, and I was like, these are super fun. I could just do them all day, and but they're not like fine art, quote unquote.
Right.
But they're still fun to do, and I don't think of them as any lesser of paintings than the stuff that I normally do. It's just like a different exercise. It's like a sketchbook, basically. It's kind of how I think of it.
Right.
And so I was thinking, like, what would be an interesting way to...
If you literally filled the entire gallery wall to wall of pets,
Yeah.
no matter what, it'd be like, all right, well, this is fine art. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's all like within like the context of how you deliver
Right.
the thing in a weird way. you know?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going for with that, was like putting these like weird pet portraits in like this fine art context. Like these things that are normally just like thought of as just like, oh, just like these throwaway sort of things, or just like commissions usually.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so putting them like in a gallery setting like that, I just wanted to see how people would react to it. And yeah, I'm not sure if I want to keep doing it in that same way, or if I want to change the entire way I'm presenting the figures
Right.
instead. So yeah, I'm still working out the idea, but
Yeah,
that overall is where I'm kind of going with it. Plus,
for sure.
also, it's
Well, you're
just-
in that like figure shade out mode, which is
Right.
cool.
yeah. Plus, also, I haven't really posted that many of them on Instagram yet,
Mm.
but I wanted to see if people or interact with the art on Instagram differently with this work. I imagine there's got to be some difference between how people feel about the Painted Roses stuff versus the Orgies in the Dark without the figure or without the pets and with them.
Right.
So yeah, it's all just like experimenting
For sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fun stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know where to go.
Well, we're at hour 47.
Well, we did want to mention that we might switch up things as far as the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That
Do you want to talk about why?
yeah, because I'm dying inside.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, this podcast is just a ton of work, and then we've mentioned it before.
Yeah, I think the one of the hardest parts about it is pretty much on your shoulders, like the
Locking in
getting
the
guests.
artist.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a real it's the most it's my least favorite part of this podcast.
Mhm.
I mean, I love when I land a good guest and I'm like super stoked on it.
Mm-hmm.
But even like leading up to the show, I'm usually stressed out because unless they're like really good at like responding,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, I hope this works out. And
Right.
then if things cancel, then it's just super frustrating.
I know, especially when we had a bunch of cancellations and reworks of schedules recently. It's
And I have like 5 artists who I keep kicking the can down the road because they're like, I can't do it. They're like, I could do it. Never mind, I can't do it. I could do it. Never mind, I can't do it. Or,
Right.
oh, hit me up in spring. Hit them up in spring. Never mind, hit me up in summer. And
right.
I've had someone that's done it for a year now. It's like, hit me up in winter, hit me up in spring, or
Yeah.
hit me up in summer. And I'm like, oh my God. And I have a handful of people like that right now. So yeah. And not only that, but it depends on the guest. Sometimes, I mean, I actually enjoy talking to everyone, but
Mm-hmm.
just kind of making this thing easier, I think,
Right.
for us. So we're probably going to do more solo episodes
Mm-hmm.
or more like episodes with like return guests, like that are like very returny.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
People we have a good chemistry with. They're
Yeah.
easy to work with.
Yeah. And then every once in a while squeezing in a new guest that we're super stoked on
Mm-hmm.
to get or whatever, but just not relying on having to fill a guest spot 3 out of the 4 weeks in the month, or sometimes it's 4.
Mm-hmm.
We've been recently doing 4 guests in a solo episode, so
Yeah.
it ends up being, it's
A
just
lot.
tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to like when we first started this podcast, the intention was never really to be like that guest centric where
Right.
it became like an interview every week. It was more just a thing that, well, we need those guests to help us get the word out.
Right. Yeah. It's a way to grow our show to kind of get our name out there.
Mhm. Yeah, and in the beginning, well, I didn't expect to get so much out of just having those talks with all these different people. So
Mhm.
I'm super happy about that. But then
For sure.
after a certain point, it's like, when does it become like diminishing returns
Right.
when you're always chasing the next thing? It wouldn't, that rate wouldn't be that high if we were still easily getting guests like
Right.
we had been before. But
Yeah.
we're also just running out of new people to talk about
Yeah.
or talk to.
Yeah. There's probably a bunch of people that are Bay Area artists that are furious that we say this shit, but I mean, it's tricky because it's like I know there's like a million artists, but
Mm-hmm.
but it's just, first of all, I don't want to have an artist that I don't really like their work, because I really don't want to either have to be brutally honest and be like, I don't like this shit,
Yeah.
or pretend that they're cool. I'm cool with their work. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to book people like that.
Mhm.
So I don't want to do that. So then I just don't. And then it's like, well, the amount of people that I'm able to book then in the Bay Area just whittles down to slim pickings. And then you have to hope that they're okay with wanting to do this, you know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
there's
There's plenty of people who we haven't had on, but it's just
yeah.
they haven't met us halfway.
Yeah, exactly. So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But we just wanted to let all our listeners know that
Mm-hmm.
if you get bombarded with solo episodes, we apologize, but it's to keep our sanity and keep this going. It's like if we don't enjoy doing this,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I'm going to speak for both of us, but then it's like, why should we continue? We're doing this for free. I mean, we have plans of like monetizing this at some point in some weird way with like products or something, but or advertisement or whatever. But but for now, it's like, and that's the other question. I don't think that'll like fix the issues. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, we're making money now, I'm okay with.
Right. There'll never be enough money to not be like realistically. Like I'm sure there's enough money in the world to make us be all right with it. But for a podcast, especially such a niche podcast, like there's only so much money. Like if we were to start a Patreon,
right?
A few $100 a month or whatever it might end up being might not be enough for us to.
Yeah, and that's a 65-35 split, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to shake hands on that?
As long as it's not in writing, it'll be.
But yeah. So that's just news of our show.
Yeah.
I mean, we still enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
The funnest part is
and
sitting
they'll
down
probably
talking.
People like the Leons of the world will be happy that it's more solo episodes.
Yeah, I know. Or we'll have Leon on.
Yeah, exactly.
More often. Although we are going to have him on soon before his Menace show.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
He's been doing cool stuff recently, which I'm excited to talk about. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else?
As always, rate and review us because we haven't gotten a few of those in a while. But we're super appreciative of those. I mean,
unless you're a 2-star and then go fuck off.
Yeah.
But the for all you other people that actually enjoy this podcast, please rate and review. And if you can't rate and review because you don't have an iPhone, next time you see your girlfriend or cousin or whatever holding an iPhone, just grab it from them. Go on the podcast app, rate and review us, and we'll love you forever.
Right. That's dedication right there.
Yeah. Let us know, and Sergio will send a picture of his private parts to you.
I still need to make stickers of the true introvert little logo. Oh, speaking of, did you see the prints that Plague made of that? I'll have to get a picture of that.
For his final Free Art Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a little WTD in there.
Oh yeah, I saw it. I was like, because he put one at Fog Belt Brewery, and I was drinking with him when he put it there.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
I still haven't seen one in real life.
You never will, because they're all gone, I think.
Yeah.
Well, did he keep any of them? I
have no idea.
Well, he has the print. He has the lino cut. So.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So maybe one day you'll be able to see it. Maybe. Probably not, though. Probably never.
I'll never. Yeah.
All right. I think we're coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Rest in peace, Grumpy Cat.
Oh, shit. Did he even make it? He's got to make it onto one of your Orgies in the Dark.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. That might be copywritten.
Grumpy Cat.
Yeah.
Good point. Oh, my God.
I could still do a tribute.
That's right. That's true.
Get all the Instagram followers.
Shit. What does that owner do now? Does he go look for the next cat that looks sad?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
Still special needs shelters.
Do you think that they that their relationship got tricky after they became famous? Like Grumpy Cat became an alcoholic. It was like, fuck it, you're just using me for my sad face, man.
Yeah.
And he just became his manager, and
Yeah, I would have figured that Grumpy Cat would be just a real diva at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, now that he's dead, it's all like getting weird because it's like his will is like, I'll leave all my stuff to this person. It's like a paw print.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's
Was
bullshit.
that signed under duress?
Yeah. God damn it. All right.
So look for more of these types of discussions soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. Sorry if I was I feel like there was all this drama and I was like so tired today that it's all like even keel. I should be much more angrier. I should be like, yeah. I should be like, listen to Lauren's
Yeah.
first 4 minutes of his podcast and you'll see how
If you want some fire, I actually have some.
Joshua Lawyer said it best. It's fucking street art. It happens. Fuck it.
facts.
That's a preview. After this, go listen to Bravecast.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, this has been Waiting Dry. If you're still listening, fuck off.